A new update by Clive Mond has just been released today, and it looks like Clive's sentiment is still very bullish at the moment. If you guys would remember the video that I put out just over a month ago, right here, 4 weeks ago, silver and gold prices have bottomed. This was an analysis of the Clive Mond update, as you can see there. So it looks like his sentiment is still bullish. He's talking about this ABC pattern here, the three-wave ABC correction with the pronounced high-volume bull hammer on Friday signaling termination of the move. So what he's basically saying is if the prices don't go below this bull hammer that we see right here, then this is going to mark a nice short-term bottom in gold. Now, he says the long-term uptrend is still intact, and the buying opportunity would be anywhere between here and $1,500. So, where we are today, which is about 1658, all the way down to 1,500. So, I'll just remind you guys of that video I put out. Silver crashed to $20 and gold to 1,500, the ultimate price correction. So this is one video that I put out basically challenging people's opinions on the gold and silver markets, because everybody was majorly bullish before. So I was asking people, come over and consider the bearish perspective for a moment and see which scenario has more merit to it. So he's saying anywhere between here and 1,500 is a good buying opportunity for gold. And then he comes here, he notes how the latest charts show that commercial short and long spec positions are in the middling ground. So in the past few months, we've had a lot of commercial short positions on gold and silver. That's why a lot of people were pointing to the fact that we could have a major sell-off. That was one of the reasons why I was personally warning of this sell-off as well. To go on, this is something new that he hasn't had in his recent updates. He's talked about the Hubert Gold sentiment, but he hasn't really talked about it being a contrarian indicator. So what a contrarian indicator means is if a majority of the gold market is bullish, if you're a contrarian trader, then you would then go and take the bearish side of the trade. And the reason why, or the logic behind why contrarian indicators work, is that a majority of people in markets are losing their money, right? The house always wins. It's just like a casino. So if everybody is making the wrong decisions all the time, then why not just take the opposite decision of what the majority believes? So he's saying the Hubert Gold sentiment right now is turning bearish, so this is a good bullish sign for the contrarians. So you can basically make up your own decision whether you think that that is what this piece of data is pointing to or not. I'm not sure. I haven't really been studying this gold sentiment for long enough. What we have here now is the head and shoulders pattern for the US dollar. He says we could take out this resistance point and the head and shoulders pattern would completely abort. So he says we could just have a nice US dollar rally. And how he links this to gold is he says gold and US dollar could be going up at the same time. I mean, which is not out of the bounds of possibility and could be occasioned by more mayhem in Europe, for example. So that's what's going on with the US dollar. The US dollar is looking very strong right now. So what effect this will have on gold and silver prices, we can only wait and see. So US dollar COT. This is the latest US dollar COT chart, shows that commercials have a high long position while large and small specs negative during a are negative and running a short position. This setup is bullish for the dollar and points to more upside. So the dollar is looking very bullish. So he finishes this this update off with an analogy here about a film that he watched with two criminals driving their trucks along an icy road. One falls off and explodes and dies, while the other truck continues and they make it to the end of the road. Then he links this back to this is kind of dangerous instability that exists with respect to the banking system and derivatives right now. The central banks are setting a course for hyperinflation. That is where we are headed. But if they fail to shore up the banks and prevent a collapse, and they may be physically unable to prevent it due to the magnitude of bad asset decay. So he gives us a very bullish spin for gold and silver right now. It seems like his overall sentiment is bullish, but then he sneaks this little line in here that I don't think people should look over. So remember, a lot of what he's saying here is bullish, and then he slips this in. This implosion could happen at any time with very little warning, and it is why you need to keep $1,500 gold and $25 to $26 silver in mind as a line in the sand. If these levels fail, be ready to be stopped out or hedge.